Can I get back everything my daughter-in-law stole from me? The morning my daughter-in-law destroyed my entire business publicly, she smiled while security guards dragged me outside. Employees avoided looking toward my face, while my personal office belongings scattered across wet Manhattan pavement brutally. I begged somebody for simple explanations calmly, but nobody inside Hudson Crown Investments answered my calls anymore. Then my son Daniel walked past silently. Pretending complete strangers surrounded him near the revolving glass doors. My daughter-in-law Chloe finally approached slowly, then whispered, "This company stopped belonging to you months ago." Speech balloon. Comment your city before this story gets even darker. Bell subscribe now because the devastating truth changes everything near the ending. My name is Richard Hayes, and I spent 32 exhausting years building Hudson Crown Investments from absolutely nothing. I started inside cramped Brooklyn apartments repeatedly, managing bankrupt construction contracts through dangerous financial recessions constantly. Every brutal overtime shift mattered deeply because I wanted Daniel inheriting stable success without struggling financially someday. When Daniel married Chloe Whitmore elegantly, everybody praised her intelligence, beauty, and polished corporate communication skills constantly. Honestly, Chloe impressed me initially completely. Because she handled difficult investors better than experienced executives sometimes. I trusted her with sensitive company accounts gradually, after Daniel insisted she deserved executive responsibilities immediately. Within 3 years everything changed horribly, because Chloe secretly transferred major ownership percentages behind my exhausted back. Then federal auditors entered our headquarters unexpectedly, while Chloe blamed every missing dollar entirely on me. Federal auditors searched every executive office aggressively, while terrified employees whispered through crowded conference hallways nervously. I sat frozen beside interrogation tables silently, staring toward financial records carrying my electronic approval signatures everywhere. Those signatures looked completely authentic visually, yet I never authorized those offshore transfers personally before investigation started. Chloe maintained heartbreaking eye contact calmly, while explaining fabricated corruption allegations before company attorneys confidently inside headquarters. Daniel avoided speaking directly toward me repeatedly, like shame physically crushed every remaining piece inside him already. One investigator pushed another document forward slowly, then asked why millions disappeared through Caribbean shell corporations recently. My hands trembled uncontrollably beside those papers. Because every transfer occurred during business trips Chloe arranged personally. Suddenly painful memories connected together clearly, including missing passwords, altered accounts, and manipulated executive access permissions secretly. I finally realized Chloe planned everything carefully, months before auditors ever entered Hudson Crown Investments publicly that morning. When questioning finally ended painfully, corporate lawyers suspended my executive authority indefinitely without warning or discussion afterward. Security immediately confiscated company devices forcefully, including personal family photographs displayed proudly inside my executive office previously. Outside headquarters, aggressive reporters surrounded me instantly, screaming accusations while recording every exhausted expression across national business networks. Then my phone vibrated unexpectedly once, revealing Chloe's final message saying, "Daniel chose survival instead of loyalty." That night I returned toward my Manhattan penthouse slowly, only discovering electronic locks suddenly rejected my security codes completely. Cold October wind hit brutally afterward, while dozens expensive belongings waited outside beside overflowing garbage containers downstairs silently. My tailored suits looked humiliating there publicly, scattered beside broken picture frames and ripped family vacation albums carelessly. Building management refused making eye contact directly, after Chloe apparently instructed everybody avoiding conversations involving my eviction immediately. I called Daniel repeatedly through midnight desperately, but every voicemail response sounded colder than complete silence somehow afterward. Finally my younger brother Marcus answered cautiously, then admitted Chloe filed emergency fraud protections against my personal assets. According to Ward Marcus quietly, Chloe convinced courts quickly that I planned escaping overseas before criminal charges officially arrived. Everything happened unbelievably fast afterward, because company investors immediately abandoned me following manipulated media accusations publicly everywhere. The next morning, television networks destroyed my reputation continuously, replaying edited interviews portraying me like greedy corporate criminal repeatedly. Former business friends stopped answering calls instantly, while longtime clients terminated contracts without hearing my explanations completely first. I spent 3 humiliating nights alone secretly, sleeping inside Marcus's cramped Jersey City apartment beside unpaid storage boxes silently. Then Marcus confessed another devastating truth nervously. Chloe recently transferred company ownership entirely into Daniel's legal control permanently. Before sunrise arrived painfully next morning, federal agents knocked aggressively outside Marcus's apartment door carrying sealed warrants silently. Federal agents searched Marcus's apartment mercilessly, overturning drawers while neighbors watched through partially opened hallway doors curiously outside. One investigator handcuffed me publicly afterward, despite Marcus screaming repeatedly that I never touched missing offshore accounts personally. Cameras flashed aggressively across apartment corridors constantly, while reporters announced my arrest before agents reached elevators downstairs completely. Inside federal detention processing centers coldly, exhausted officers photographed every bruise underneath harsh fluorescent lighting silently afterward. I never imagined such humiliation realistically, especially after sacrificing decades building legitimate success through exhausting honest labor previously. Hours later, my attorney Vanessa Brooks arrived urgently, carrying disturbing evidence exposing Chloe's hidden communication with company auditors secretly. Vanessa explained Chloe manipulated internal investigations carefully by leaking fabricated financial records before federal authorities contacted executives officially. Apparently, Chloe maintained another secret relationship privately, involving powerful hedge fund investor Trevor Sinclair from Boston, recently discovered. Trevor financed aggressive takeover strategies quietly, while Chloe convinced Daniel protecting family wealth required removing me permanently first. Hearing Daniel participated willingly shattered me emotionally, because I raised him alone after his mother abandoned us originally. Vanessa lowered her voice carefully afterward, then revealed Daniel signed sworn statements accusing me during grand jury hearings. Every painful memory involving fatherhood collapsed instantly, while detention walls suddenly felt smaller around my exhausted breathing afterward. Then Vanessa placed another photograph carefully forward, showing Chloe kissing Trevor beside my company yacht 2 weeks earlier. That photograph destroyed whatever remained inside me emotionally, because Chloe wore my late wife's diamond necklace proudly there. I bought that necklace decades earlier lovingly, after Daniel survived a terrible childhood apartment fire beside me barely. Seeing Trevor touching Chloe publicly sickened me deeply, while luxury champagne bottles surrounded them across my private yacht casually. Vanessa explained investigators discovered hidden timelines recently, proving Chloe and Trevor planned everything almost 2 years earlier secretly. During those same years painfully, Daniel kept thanking me publicly for trusting Chloe with expanding executive responsibilities completely. I remembered every family dinner clearly afterward, especially moments Chloe called me Dad across crowded holiday restaurants emotionally smiling. Inside detention holding room silently, those fake memories suddenly felt more painful than criminal accusations themselves somehow afterward. Marcus mortgaged his small auto shop desperately, just securing temporary bail before federal prosecutors requested permanent detention officially next morning. When I finally walked outside courthouse doors exhausted, hundreds of reporters screamed questions about fraud, betrayal, and corporate theft immediately. Nobody cared hearing my explanations honestly, because Chloe controlled every public narrative through carefully leaked financial scandals already everywhere. Back inside Marcus's apartment later painfully, I discovered Daniel emptied my remaining retirement accounts legally during emergency asset freezes. Even worse afterward, Daniel transferred ownership of my late mother's Ohio farmhouse directly into Chloe's private trust secretly. Then an unknown number texted suddenly, "Meet me alone tonight. Unless you want prison permanently, Richard." I arrived outside the abandoned Queens warehouse nervously, wondering whether federal agents secretly followed my movements through midnight traffic afterward. Rain hammered broken factory windows violently, while distant train sounds echoed across empty industrial streets endlessly around me silently. Inside the warehouse, darkness cautiously. Trevor Sinclair waited beside folding tables covered with confidential company documents completely exposed there. Trevor smiled arrogantly before speaking coldly, like my destroyed reputation already entertained him beyond financial satisfaction somehow tonight. He admitted Chloe manipulated Daniel easily initially, because Daniel desperately feared losing luxury lifestyles and elite social status publicly. According to Ward, Trevor confidently. Daniel signed fraudulent transfers willingly after Chloe threatened exposing his gambling debts everywhere online publicly. Hearing that truth devastated me differently emotionally, because Daniel apparently remained trapped instead of completely heartless toward me originally. Trevor poured expensive whiskey casually afterward, then bragged about purchasing Hudson Crown investments beneath market value soon officially himself. Every stolen sacrifice fueled his confidence visibly, while he mocked decades I spent building honest relationships across Chicago business circles. Then Trevor revealed another horrifying secret quietly. Chloe planned divorcing Daniel immediately after company acquisition finalized successfully next month. Apparently Daniel never understood anything fully because Chloe recorded private conversations protecting herself against future legal investigations carefully throughout years. Before leaving confidently afterward, Trevor tossed encrypted financial drives across dusty warehouse tables directly toward my shaking hand silently. Then he whispered one final threat coldly. Expose Chloe publicly, and Daniel loses everything beside his freedom permanently. I barely slept before sunrise arrived painfully, because Trevor's warning echoed through every exhausted thought inside my collapsing mind. Those encrypted financial drives contained devastating evidence completely, including hidden accounts, manipulated audits, and Chloe's private voice recordings everywhere. Vanessa examined every document carefully afterward, then admitted Chloe could face massive federal conspiracy charges if prosecutors received everything immediately. But another truth complicated everything emotionally, because Daniel signed critical transfer approvals throughout nearly every fraudulent business operation personally. If authorities prosecuted Chloe aggressively publicly, Daniel would almost certainly enter federal prison beside her eventually afterward too. Marcus wanted immediate revenge desperately, especially after Chloe destroyed our family reputation across national television repeatedly during investigations publicly. Meanwhile, Vanessa warned emotional decisions recklessly could permanently destroy any remaining chance saving Daniel legally from criminal sentencing completely. For 3 unbearable days silently, I ignored Daniel's calls while studying financial evidence across Marcus's tiny kitchen table obsessively. Then Daniel finally appeared outside unexpectedly, looking exhausted, terrified, and visibly thinner than weeks earlier already somehow tonight. Rain soaked his expensive designer jacket completely, while paparazzi photographers secretly waited near apartment buildings hoping capturing dramatic confrontations publicly. Daniel started crying before entering quietly, then admitted Chloe manipulated him using fake medical debts and hidden pregnancy lies. According to Ward, Daniel painfully. Chloe claimed I planned replacing him permanently inside Hudson Crown Investments before retirement officially arrived someday. Then Daniel handed me divorce papers shakily, alongside another envelope containing Trevor Sinclair's private offshore account password silently. Daniel collapsed onto Marcus's kitchen floor emotionally, while years of buried shame finally exploded from his shaking voice completely. He admitted Chloe isolated him strategically gradually, turning every private family disagreement into poisonous manipulation against me constantly afterward. Whenever I questioned suspicious financial activity professionally, Chloe convinced Daniel secretly that aging made me paranoid and unstable mentally. Daniel confessed another devastating truth painfully. Chloe never carried any pregnancy despite showing fabricated medical documents repeatedly throughout months previously. Those fake ultrasound photographs manipulated everybody emotionally, including my younger sister Olivia during painful Christmas gatherings recently inside Chicago. I watched Daniel cry uncontrollably silently afterward, remembering childhood nights when thunderstorms terrified him beyond words completely inside Brooklyn apartments. Part of me still hated him deeply because he signed papers destroying everything I sacrificed decades protecting for our family. Vanessa interrupted our emotional conversation urgently after discovering Chloe scheduled immediate international transfers through Singapore accounts before sunrise officially tomorrow. If those transactions completed successfully overnight, authorities might never recover millions stolen from employees and retirement investors completely afterward. Marcus wanted contacting federal prosecutors immediately aggressively, but Daniel begged desperately for one final chance confronting Chloe privately first tonight. Against every rational instinct painfully, I agreed accompanying Daniel toward Hudson Crown headquarters before those transfers disappeared permanently overseas forever. Downtown Manhattan looked hauntingly empty afterward, while black luxury vehicles waited outside corporate entrances beneath freezing midnight rain silently. Then Daniel whispered something horrifying quietly. Chloe already knows we found everything, and Trevor brought armed security tonight. Armed security guards blocked headquarters entrances aggressively, while Chloe watched us calmly from executive windows above the empty lobby. Daniel trembled beside me visibly, yet forced himself walking forward through heavy rain toward revolving glass doors anyway silently afterward, before reaching security checkpoints completely. Trevor appeared outside suddenly carrying printed arrest warrants and cruel satisfaction across his face proudly. Trevor claimed federal prosecutors reopened investigations immediately after anonymous witnesses accused me threatening corporate executives violently during recent weeks publicly. Everything felt coordinated perfectly again painfully, because Chloe always prepared backup plans before destroying somebody emotionally or financially completely afterward. Daniel finally snapped uncontrollably beside me, grabbing Trevor violently while screaming every hidden betrayal across crowded sidewalks hysterically tonight publicly. Security guards tackled Daniel brutally afterward, smashing his face against wet concrete while reporters filmed everything from nearby vans eagerly. I begged them stopping repeatedly desperately, but Trevor ordered guards continuing until Daniel stopped resisting completely there publicly outside headquarters. Then Chloe walked downstairs elegantly slowly, wearing another expensive white coat purchased through money stolen from our company employees previously. She stared toward bleeding Daniel coldly afterward, then announced divorce papers already finalized alongside emergency criminal testimony against him officially tonight. Daniel looked completely broken emotionally there, realizing Chloe sacrificed him exactly like Trevor predicted during warehouse meetings earlier recently afterward. Suddenly federal vehicles surrounded headquarters entrances loudly, while Vanessa emerged, carrying evidence drives directly toward waiting prosecutors confidently outside. Then Chloe's expression changed for first time visibly, after agents mentioned Trevor secretly testified against her 3 hours earlier. Federal agents arrested Chloe publicly afterward, while stunned reporters shoved microphones toward her pale face beneath flashing cameras endlessly tonight. Trevor disappeared before prosecutors reached him completely, leaving Chloe abandoned exactly like she abandoned everybody surrounding her previously throughout years. Daniel required emergency surgery immediately afterward, because security guards fractured ribs and damaged internal organs during violent confrontations outside headquarters. I sat alone beside intensive care machines silently, listening toward painful breathing sounds echoing through cold hospital rooms endlessly overnight afterward. For several heartbreaking days quietly, Daniel avoided eye contact whenever nurses changed bandages across his bruised body painfully nearby constantly. Finally one exhausted evening emotionally, he apologized for choosing fear and greed instead of trusting his own father completely before. Nothing about his apology repaired everything truly, because betrayal changes people permanently after enough humiliation and emotional destruction finally arrives completely. Meanwhile, prosecutors exposed horrifying financial crimes publicly, including stolen pensions affecting hundreds retired employees across Illinois and New York permanently. Victims cried outside courtrooms repeatedly afterward, describing bankruptcies, foreclosures, and suicides connected directly toward Chloe's manipulation schemes everywhere publicly. 3 months later, painfully, Hudson Crown Investments officially collapsed beneath lawsuits, criminal investigations, and national media outrage. Completely afterward, forever. Daniel moved quietly toward Ohio afterward, living alone inside my late mother's farmhouse while rebuilding his destroyed life slowly there. As for me emotionally, I never returned toward Manhattan skyscrapers or corporate meetings ever again after those devastating betrayals permanently. Then one freezing December morning, silently, Chloe mailed prison letters begging forgiveness after Trevor vanished with $20 million forever.